You are invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are lcmtv.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
Down?
Yeah, and the pack itself wasn't turned on.
There you go. Gotta check that.
Okay, once again, folks, welcome to LCM TV News at noon. I'm Peter Schiffman.
A green Peter Shipman. Oh my gosh. You're totally green.
All right. People from the villages near the epicenter of Nepal's powerful earthquake are burying their dead, despairing of help arriving anytime soon. In Sarpani, an ethnic Gurkha village at the epicenter of Saturday's quake.
This rocket.
Oh, Jesus
Go
Christ.
ahead.
I can't. Ms. Dakal said,
It's live TV, folks. Just try and take the green out of him.
yeah. As I was saying, Ms. Dakal said, we have no shelter, no food, and all the bodies are scattered around. 2 days after Nepal's worst earthquake in 80 years, the official death toll rose to more than 5,000, and humanitarian aid was starting to flow to the capital. Kathmandu's airport has been so overloaded by aid and passenger planes that incoming flights sat for hours on the runway. Nepali expatriates were flying in, desperate to track down family members, and setting off down the airport access road on foot, rolling suitcases behind them. To help the people of Nepal during this trying time, go to redcross.org to donate or volunteer. Defying international condemnation and rejecting 11th hour pleas for clemency, the Indonesian government executed 8 death row prisoners, part of a group known as the Bali Nine, after midnight on Wednesday, including 7 foreigners. But the execution of a 9th convict, scheduled to happen at the same time, was unexpectedly postponed at nearly the last minute, as the Indonesia Attorney General's office stated. The 8 executed prisoners from Australia, Brazil, Ghana, and Nigeria, along with 1 Indonesian, faced separate police firing squads at about 12:25 a.m. local time at an execution site off the southern coast of Java. We've carried out the executions, said an Attorney General's office official, talking to the press on condition of anonymity. The executions went well without any disruptions, he said. The ninth defendant from the Philippines was spared after a woman who allegedly recruited her to act as a drug courier gave herself up to police in the Philippines. Following a tip-off from the Australian police, they were convicted in Indonesia in 2006 of being the ringleaders of a gang trying to smuggle drugs out of Bali. And not a few spliffs or a bag of grass stuffed down their underpants, but 18 pounds of heroin worth more than $400,000 at today's street value. A police officer said that after the execution, prayers were said for each person according to their respective religion. This was the second round of executions after the first was carried out on January 18th, during which 6 inmates from Indonesia, the Netherlands, Brazil, Nigeria, Vietnam, and Malawi were killed by firing squad. Maryland's governor activated the National Guard on Monday, and the city of Baltimore announced a curfew for all residents as a turbulent day that began with the funeral of 25-year-old Freddie Gray, the nation's latest symbol of police brutality, ended with rioting by rock-throwing youths, arson, and looting. Angry residents threw bottles, rocks, and chunks of concrete at officers who lined up in riot gear with shields deployed. Cars were set on fire, store windows were shattered, a drugstore was looted, and the cafe inside a century-old Italian deli was destroyed. Trouble also erupted at the city's Lexington market. At the same time, young men in black t-shirts from a local anti-violence group urged their neighbors to go back inside. A Baltimore mother was caught on video repeatedly smacking her son after catching him throwing things at police during rioting in Baltimore, told CBS News that she was only concerned about protecting him. He gave me eye contact. And at that point, you're not even thinking about cameras or anything like that. That's my only son. At the end of the day, I do not want him to be a Freddie Gray, Toya Graham said. Graham said she launched into action after spotting her 16-year-old son, Michael, wearing a hoodie and mask amid the protesters. At that point, I just lost it, said Graham. I was shocked, I was angry, because you never want to see your child out there doing that. Graham, a single mom with 6 children, denounced the vandalism and violence against police officers. She said rioting in Baltimore is no way to go about getting justice for Freddie Gray, and that she doesn't want the life for her son. He knew he was in trouble, said Graham. He said, when I see you, he said, Ma, my instinct was to run. Police Commissioner Batts told reporters late Monday night that a bulk of the rioters who pelted officers with rocks and bricks, inciting a massive display of looting and vandalism across parts of West Baltimore, were area high schoolers. At least 20 police officers were injured in the violence, and 1 person was critically hurt in a fire, according to authorities. Police made 235 arrests, including 34 juveniles. The streets were calmer Tuesday as the National Guard was deployed. A 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew remains in effect. President Obama commented yesterday, they're not protesting, they're not making statements. They're stealing. It's a handful of people taking advantage of the situation for their own purposes, and they need to be treated as criminals. The Supreme Court on Tuesday seemed deeply divided about the Constitution guarantees same-sex couples the right to marry. They appeared to clash over not only what is the right answer, but also how to reach it. The questioning illustrated their conflicting views on history, tradition, biology, constitutional interpretation, the democratic process, and the role of courts in prodding social change. Justice Anthony Kennedy said he was concerned about changing a conception of marriage that has persisted for millennia. Later, though, he expressed qualms about excluding gay families from what he called a noble and sacred institution. Chief Justice John Roberts, Jr. worried about shutting down a fast-moving societal debate. In the initial questioning, which lasted about 90 minutes, Justice Samuel Alito Jr. asked whether groups of 4 people must be allowed to marry, while Justice Antonin Scalia, said a ruling for same-sex marriage might require some members of the clergy to perform the ceremonies, even if they violate the religious teaching. Justice Stephen Breyer described marriage as a fundamental liberty, and Justices Ruth Ginsburg and Elena Kagan said that allowing same-sex marriage would do no harm to the marriages of opposite-sex couples. President Obama says his anti-globalization sentiments from left and right is a big mistake. Facing a bitter struggle within his own party on trade policy, he warned that China would step into the economic vacuum the U.S. would create if it fails to complete and enact a free trade deal with Asia. Mr. Obama did acknowledge that he is annoyed by the criticism of both him and the trade negotiations. What I take personally is this notion somehow that after 6.5 years of working to yank this economy out of a ditch, strengthening middle-class home ownership, making sure that their 401ks have recovered, making sure they've got much better education systems and job training systems, fighting for the minimum wage, fighting for a vibrant auto industry, that after all the work that I have done and we have done together to make sure that middle-class families have greater stability, that to believe some of the rhetoric that has been coming out of opponents, that I'm trying to just destroy the middle class or destroy our democracy, is a little unrealistic, and they know it. Senator Bernard Bernie Sanders, the independent from Vermont, plans to run for president as a Democrat, becoming the only official party challenger so far to Hillary Rodham Clinton. According to people familiar with the senator's plans, he will release a statement on Thursday and make a more formal announcement of candidacy later this next month in Vermont. Mr. Sanders, who considers himself a democratic socialist, has been traveling recently in early nominating states like Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina to gauge interest in his candidacy. While considered a long shot for the Democratic nomination, Mr. Sanders could be another voice drawing Mrs. Clinton to the left because of his progressive views on trade, health care, and corporate lobbying. According to a Federal Election Commission filing, Mr. Sanders has $4.63 million on hand for his 2018 Senate re-election campaign. That money, however, can be transferred to his coffers for a presidential race. Google began rolling out a digital news partnership with 8 European newspaper publishers, acknowledging past mistakes with news organizations. On Tuesday, the Mountain View company pledged more than $164 million to nurture, support, and fund digital journalism and news organizations. Yahoo sounded just like a regular TV network as it announced a slew of new shows at its new front presentation to advertising executives Monday evening in New York. Yahoo celebrity CEO Marissa Mayer was less visible than her 2 executives making the presentation, but she appeared on stage near the conclusion to add a few remarks. Our efforts tonight are all about video, and we've made substantial progress this last quarter. With Brightroll, Yahoo now has 188 million unique video visitors per month. This means Yahoo now has the #1 reach in the marketplace. Next up, folks, is our regional news, and we'll be back in a few seconds.
You are invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
Taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In the summertime.
Turn on your mic.
Welcome back, folks. This is LCM TV News at noon. I am Peter Schiffman once again, and I appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Okay, in regional news, folks. 2 Bay Area men were among 18 killed in the avalanche caused by Saturday's 7.9 magnitude earthquake in Nepal. Both were climbing Mount Everest. Dan Fredenberg, 33, was an executive for Google, located in Mountain View. Fredenberg led Google's Google X expedition team that gathered imagery for Google Maps of some of the highest peaks in the world. Vin Truong, 48, from Sunnyvale, worked in data systems from Kaiser Permanente and was an experienced outdoorsman. He had planned the 2-week hiking trip to climb Mount Everest for a decade. Authorities have confirmed that more than 5,000 people died in the earthquake, and the toll could rise to 10,000. On Tuesday, Governor Jerry Brown recommended that California residents and businesses that waste the most water be fined $10,000. Last summer, fines were limited to only $500, although a few cities levied this much. This is California's 4th year of drought, and state officials believe it may last at least another 5 years. A teenager from Discovery Bay killed a 9-year-old boy on Sunday while the boy was sleeping. William Schultz, 18, was spending the night with a school friend, and the victim was his friend's younger brother. In an interview, Schultz said he wanted to know what it felt like to murder someone before the world ended. He had recently been released from a county medical facility because of mental health issues. He is in jail, being held on a $1 million bond. Grieving friends and neighbors left candles, flowers, and teddy bears Monday at the Northern California home of 9-year-old Jordan Almgren. The Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office said William Schultz, 18, a friend of Jordan's older brother, was arrested Sunday afternoon at a separate hospital where he showed up for treatment after the stabbing. Deputies wouldn't say why Schultz went to the hospital or speculate on a motive. They said only that Schultz was being held on suspicion of having killed Jordan. This wasn't a randoback, the sheriff told reporters. This wasn't some sort of stranger that came into the home and murdered a child. This was a family friend. The annual quarantine on sport-harvested mussels gathered along the California coast begins May 1st, said Dr. Karen Smith, director of the California Department of Public Health. This quarantine applies to all species of mussels harvested along the California coast, as well as all bays and estuaries. This quarantine protects the public from paralytic shellfish poisoning and domic acid poisoning. Both of these toxins are linked to plankton consumed by filter-feeding animals like mussels and clams. Early symptoms of poisoning include tingling of the lips and tongue. These symptoms are typically followed by a loss of balance, lack of muscular coordination, slurred speech, and difficulty swallowing.
Sound like you every day.
I hope you didn't hear that, folks. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tom Torlakson reported Tuesday that California's high school graduation rate climbed for the 5th year in a row to a record high in 2014. Torlakson said, excuse me, folks, I'm sorry. My wife made a joke. Our record high graduation rate is great news, especially since it's occurring at the same time we are raising academic standards. He said he believes the extra resources coming into California schools have helped the schools add staff and reinvigorate programs intended to help students graduate. The local chapter of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union has vowed to shut down ports on May 1st in a historical protest against police brutality. In a statement, the union said, it is fitting that on May Day, International Workers' Day, Bay Area ports will be shut down to protest the racist police killing of mainly black and brown people. It's the first time a union has taken such action. In 2008, the same union chapter shut down the Pacific Coast ports to demand an end to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Dollar Tree Stores, Inc. will have to pay a $2.7 million settlement in civil penalties and costs and for supplemental environmental projects for its participation of illegal disposal of hazardous waste at its retail stores and distribution centers across the state, according to the Mendocino County District Attorney's Office. Mendocino County Environmental Health is expected to receive a $1,000 payment, and the DA's office will receive a $1,250 payment, which is said to be based on the amount of Dollar Tree stores in a given county and the counties that did the most work. This is according to the DA's office. Dollar Tree has 3 stores in Mendocino County. As part of the settlement order by Alameda County Superior Court judge, the dollar store chain also agreed to implement an approved hazardous waste compliance program at its retail stores and distribution centers in California. The Mendocino County DA's office said the Alameda County judgment is the result of a statewide investigation into Dollar Tree's disposal of hazardous waste products into store trash bins. Dollar Tree was said to have improperly handled and disposed of ignitable and corrosive liquids, toxic materials, batteries, electronic devices, and other electronic waste, and other hazardous waste generated by circumstances including spills and damage, and this is according to the DA. The discovered practices was found to have occurred at least of its 480 facilities in the state. Instead of being transported to authorized hazardous waste facilities, Dollar Tree employees directed the waste to local landfills not permitted to accept such waste, the DA's office said. We have asked the Lake County District Attorney the status of the 2 Dollar Tree stores in Lake County, and we'll let you know what he says. Apple said Monday it's raising dividends and buying back more stock, providing $200 billion back to shareholders by the end of March 2017. The move showed the Cupertino company's willingness to compromise with activist investor Carl Icahn, who has been pushing Apple to repurchase more shares. We believe Apple has a bright future ahead, and the unprecedented size of our capital return program reflects that strong confidence, said Apple's CEO. Business Insider compiled what they've deemed the 44 best restaurants in the U.S., and Bay Area residents are in luck. We have 6 on the list, including 3 in the top 10. Sison in San Francisco, the restaurant at Meadowwood in St. Helena, and Gary Danko, San Francisco. In local news, Clearlake approved 12 nuisance abatement cases totaling $55,000 in administrative penalties. The City Council approved each case by unanimous vote. Several property owners and tenants were present at last week's meeting to protest their cases, citing personal and financial burdens. However, every nuisance abatement notification was originally posted on their properties in November of 2013. The Council denied each request, determining that property owners had multiple chances to appeal or protest the abatement and fees since originally notified. The code enforcement program was discontinued 6 years ago because of a lack of funding. It was reinstated in September of last year. In March, the city held its first nuisance abatement hearings after 6 years of little to no code enforcement activity because of budget constraints. During that round of hearings, 7 case assessments totaling $32,500 were approved by the council. Devin Ray Walker, 23, of Upper Lake, was arrested for assault with a deadly weapon, resisting arrest, and for an unrelated warrant on Sunday, April 26. At approximately 12:18 p.m., deputies responded to a residence located in the 1400 block of East State Highway 20 in Upper Lake for a report of a man swinging a machete at people. When deputies arrived, they observed Walker with a machete. When a deputy told Walker to stop, Walker threw the machete in the opposite direction of the deputy. Walker then ran toward that area where he had thrown the machete, which was out of view from the deputy. Deputies pursued Walker as he continued to run until he entered a canal and swam across toward the reclamation cutoff. Walker was apprehended a short time later, approximately 1 mile from where the incident started. The annual burn ban starts on Friday, May 1, 2015, to address concerns over both fire hazard and air quality. The burn restriction applies to all areas in Lake County. All burn permits expire on April 30, 2015. An annual burn ban was first implemented in 1986 in response to weather conditions that often create extreme fire danger and poor air quality. This successful program is one of the primary reasons Lake County has superior and healthful air quality. And speaking of air quality, the American Lung Association released its annual State of the Air 2015 report. State and local area air quality are graded on an A through F scale by comparing local ozone and small particulate concentrations with the federal air and quality standards. Excuse me, folks. Although many areas, especially within California, were given failing grades, Lake County passed with flying colors. Lake County received a B grade for ozone and an A grade for short-term particulate pollution, and is ranked the cleanest county in the nation for annual particulate average concentrations for an unprecedented 3rd consecutive year. Out of California's 58 counties, Lake County is one of only 8 counties in California that did not have any days of excessive particulate matter from 2011 through 2013. This impressive record has been documented by continuous air quality monitoring, which showed that fine particulate in the air never exceeded allowable levels during this time. The report presents data showing what the residents of Lake County actually are breathing on a daily basis. San Francisco is rated 7th worst in the state of California. In the country. Lake County District Attorney's Office announced that a manager of Hoburg's Resort and Spa in Cobb recently pled guilty to a misdemeanor charge related to potentially exposing his employees to asbestos during the widely publicized renovation of the historical site. On Monday, April 6th, Daniel Nelson pled guilty to a misdemeanor violation of California Labor Code Section 6423. Lake County District Attorney alleged in the complaint that Nelson repeatedly violated the Cal-OSHA asbestos workplace safety regulations for structure demolitions, which caused a real and apparent hazard to employees by means of potential exposure to asbestos. The Sonoma Lake Napa unit of the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, also known as CAL FIRE, are holding their annual fire crew preparedness exercises in Lake County this week. These exercises provide the opportunity for 11 fire crews from 2 conservation camps to be evaluated on their physical condition, firefighting knowledge, fire safety, and personal protective equipment. The exercises will be held at Conocti Camp and on Point Lakeview Road. North Coast Opportunities will receive $103,760 over 2 years to help grow a program called Market Match, California's Healthy Food Incentive Program, which is run by the Ecology Center at the Ukiah, Willits, Redwood Valley, and Lake County farmer markets. This group is one of the recipients of the USDA's Food Insecurity Nutrition Incentive grants, totaling $31.5 million. The Lake County Farmers Market, located at Steel Winery in Findlay, will open for business on Saturday, May 2nd, and will be open on Saturday and Tuesday mornings from 8:30 until noon through October. Lake County Assistant Museum Curator Tony Pieroshi is working with Arcadia Publishing to print an Image of America book about the history of Lake County and education and schoolhouses. Although Pierucci will use photos he finds in the archives of the Historic Schoolhouse Museum and the Historic Courthouse Museum, he would like residents to contribute additional photos. Residents who can lend photographs to Pierucci can contact him at anton.pierucci@lakecountyca.gov or call the Schoolhouse Museum at 995-3565 or the Courthouse Museum at 263-4555. A report issued by UC Davis earlier this month states that Lake County's roads are relatively safe for wildlife. The report identifies roadkill by information on locations and species that have been logged into the California Roadkill Observation System database. Yes, there is an observation database for roadkill, folks. Areas that have a high number of roadkill include Highway 20 in the Lake Mendocino area and Highway 101 between Willits and Capella. One exception to Lake County's safe record occurred in November when 5 horses that escaped their ranch was killed by motorists in Clearlake Oaks. Clearlake Area Officer Adam Garcia received the Medal of Valor at a ceremony on Thursday, April 23rd. He is part of the CHP. He was awarded the medal for his actions 2 years ago when he pulled 2 people from a vehicle on State Route 29 north of Hofaker Lane that had been involved in a collision and was on fire. On the evening of January 27, 2013, California Highway Patrol Officer Garcia dealt with both fire and icy water to save the lives of 2 victims of a vehicle crash. Upon answering a call about a pickup that had slid sideways off the road and flipped end over end on State Route 29 in Lake County, he found a vehicle wedged against an embankment in a creek of icy water with 2 people trapped inside. As Garcia climbed down the steep, rocky bank, the passenger side of the engine compartment became fully engulfed in flames. Both doors were jammed shut. Garcia could not pull the driver out his window because the driver had a leg in a cast, which was pinned under the dashboard. He managed to pull the passenger by the arm over the driver and out the driver's side window. By persistently tugging on the driver, Officer Garcia was able to free the man's leg and drag him through the window. Officer Garcia's heroic actions saved the lives of both individuals. The Lake County Association of Realtors reported that the median sales price of a single-family residence for Lake County rose from $180,000 in February to $224,000 in March, a 24.44% increase. Like sales in March 2014 had a median sales price of $155,000, showing a 44.5% increase when comparing a year-to-year sales. Fluctuations in median pricing on a month-to-month basis can be very widely because of the limited number of sales. However, the trend has been on the upswing since December. The median sales price for all of 2014 was $169,000 compared to $175,000 for the first 3 months of 2015. 52 units were sold in March compared to 43 in February for a 20.9% increase. Coming up next, folks, is sports. We'll be right back.
You're invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.
Welcome back, folks. In sports, we have no local sports to report today. However, on Friday, we'll have the scores and events of the games, both baseball and softball, that are occurring during this week. The National Football League has decided to give up its tax-exempt status, a move designed to score points with fans and Congress without having much economic impact on team owners. The owners wanted to eliminate the distraction associated with misunderstanding of the league office's status. This is according to Robert McNair, owner of the Houston Texans and chair of the NFL's Financial Committee, said in a statement. The NFL enjoyed tax-exempt status under Section 501c6 of the Internal Revenue Code. Unlike 501c3 charities, these organizations cannot accept tax-deductible donations. A bill sponsored by former Senator Tom Coburn, Republican of Oklahoma, which stated that they felt there was no financial impact on turning into a for-profit versus the nonprofit status. This also affected the National Hard Rock Association, National Basketball Association, and the Major Baseball League that already had terminated their nonprofit status. The Joint Committee on Taxation estimated that the tax exemption... Jesus Christ. Sorry, folks, a little more technical problems. The Joint Committee on Taxation estimated the tax exemption was saving major pro sport leagues $109 million over a decade. It won't cost the league much because it doesn't make much money. Residual profits flowed through to the teams which pay taxes. Dodger rookie Jock Pederson homered, doubled in a run, and made a shining defensive play to deprive Angel Pagan of an RBI double, leading the Los Angeles to an 8-3 victory against the San Francisco Giants on Monday night. Tim Lincecum, 1-2, gave up 4 runs, 8 hits, and 3 walks over 4 innings before he was lifted for a pinch hitter. The 2-time NL Cy Young Award winner's 4th start of the season was delayed today because of Sunday's rainout in Colorado. In local weather, Tuesday was clear with lows overnight in the upper 40s. Winds were coming out west at 5 to 10 miles an hour. No rain was in the forecast through Friday. Wednesday, sunny skies will be a high of 81 and will be mostly clear in the evening, with lows in the mid-50s. Winds will come from the west-northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Winds will shift in the evening to north-northeast, again at 5 to 10 miles per hour. On Thursday, it will be sunny with highs around 86, winds from the northeast at 10 to 12 miles an hour. Night temperatures will be around 56, with clear skies and winds shifting to the east-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. On Friday, it will be mainly sunny with daytime highs at 88, east-northeast winds shifting to south-southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. And our final word for the day. Basketball great Scottie Pippen's 20-year-old daughter is facing charges of public intoxication and public urination after allegedly walking into a hotel and peeing on the lobby floor. Sierra Pippen was apprehended early Sunday after she allegedly entered the Sheraton Inn in Iowa City, peed on the floor, and then walked out, according to the Chicago Sun-Times. Hotel employees called police and identified the suspect because she had been arrested in the same lobby on April 10th, again for public intoxication, the Smoking Gun reports. Thank you for joining us today, folks. We'll be back on Friday at 12 o'clock noon for LCM TV News at Noon. In the meantime, have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you then.